Hello everybody, this is John from Just a Beginner Drawer, and welcome to my YouTube channel. For today's video, I'm going to talk about a pretty big topic, and I guess before I start talking about it, I should also apologize. It's been a little bit since I've released any videos. I'm trying to keep a schedule going, but sometimes I find that things like what I'm going to talk about today have an effect. So I'll try to keep more consistency for the future, and hopefully be able to get back on the schedule that I originally had created for myself, so that I don't have too much moments like this. But back on track, today's topic is going to be burning out, and what burning out is teaching me about my passions, and what potentially can end up destroying and causing a vicious cycle to continue. So recently, I have finally felt what it feels like to make somewhat of a step forward in terms of my goals and passions. Like, I hit 6 months. At first, when I first hit 6 months, I actually felt negative towards it because I said to myself, oh, now I can't, I felt like I was losing time in some sense. That I hit 6 months and I made this progress, and if I didn't, I was hoping to make lots and lots of huge amounts of progress to be so much more forward, and because that over-exaggerated state my mind was in, my drawings will never be able to meet that. And so I went into my 6-month goal with a very negative outlook. Not until like a week after that, I finally compared myself to where I was on day one to first month now, and I realized that I actually made lots of progress from what it was originally to what it is now. I felt really a lot of pride for it, and I kind of had this high, like this mental high of being feeling so happy about the progress I made. And then I kind of situated myself for a little bit, and I went back into practice, but I knew that still this high didn't leave me, and I knew that this pride didn't dissipate the way I wanted it to. It actually kind of flipped on me and became more of a sensation of not necessarily depression, but like a more negative feeling, much more empty feeling. And of course I felt excited for, like, what I'm doing now, I can only imagine what I'm doing in another 6 months for the year, back to my practice. And for some reason I just couldn't practice. I have been noticing for the past month or so that I've went from a pretty high peak. I usually don't like to say too much about how much hours I put in, but I was putting in upwards of maybe 5 to 6 hours a day of good consistent practice, and then it dipped to 4 hours, and then dipped to 3 hours, and then dipped. Now recently I have 2 days straight I haven't been able to draw, been any motivation to draw. And going into this whole thing and learning about practicing and all this kind of stuff, for me personally, I had to force myself a little bit, because I have known from the past experiences that for me to learn, I need to push myself a bit more sometimes. And so I did. And so I kind of went into drawing with the mentality that I kind of have to push myself through everything. So if it seems difficult, or it is difficult, I just need to keep pushing, and that's what needs to happen. Not realizing something kind of big about myself, that if I want to have a career in this thing and I want to find that ultimate success, I need to love every single step of the way. I need to enjoy every step of the way. If I'm forcing my hand and not enjoying what I'm doing, then I will not be able to cascade into the world of success, because you have to enjoy it. This is a field, I feel, that you have to absolutely love what you're doing to actually be successful at it. Sometimes you can go into certain fields with not the most absolute love and find some intermediate success, but this one specifically, if you want to find even an ounce of success, I feel that you have to have it as an absolute passion. And I guess from that point on, it's been I would say almost like a love-hate relationship. It's been a kind of a back and forth between, man, I love doing what I'm doing, and man, it's more difficult to approach it. And it's, of course, challenge comes with practicing certain things. It's not the most fun thing to do, to practice learning how to draw a face and understanding the basic proportions, or practicing a head over and over again. But even that, I should be going in it with a very positive mentality towards, like, this is going to get me better, and this is going to get me where I need to go. I found myself going it slowly but surely, starting to seek a negative mentality, where it became almost insanely difficult to even start. I had to ask myself, why am I procrastinating something that I'm doing out of my own will? This is not like a university assignment, or it's due at some point. Yes, I could make a goal for myself of wanting to do something in a year from now, or next 6 months, but at the end of the day, I have time where I need it. I ask myself, why does someone procrastinate? Well, they want to do something else. They have some more enjoyment somewhere else than what they have. And I start to realize that this feeling was actually a very deep burning out feeling that I've been feeling for a while now. And one conclusion came to my mind, and one kind of big fear is that I have in the past tried to become better at drawing. I don't think I've mentioned too much about it, but I've maybe spent a month or two trying to get practice in, and what ends up happening is I get this burning out feeling. I stop and then not draw for a long time, and then come back to it a year later and feel so much regret because I could have been practicing for the year. I could have been so much more ahead than I am now. But now, because I let this burning out feeling or whatever happened, I have to go into drawing again with this big negative feeling, that a big what if in my mind. And I really don't want that to happen again. And so for the past week, and it's been affecting everything. It's been affecting anything that comes to working towards me or working towards YouTube or drawing. It's like this spiraling cycle where it's like if you miss one day, it's like, oh, and I have to keep the momentum I just built up, I had lost in all this constant rush. In a sense, I said to myself, maybe I should not force any kind of practice for a little bit and see what happens. Because I find if I force it when I don't feel like doing it, and if I force passion, it's gonna just end up becoming more of a burnout. And I realized that, yes, practicing every day is very beneficial, but I guess I was maybe just doing too much too early. I was trying to hit so many hours a day and so much time a day putting into this thing that I kind of lost my way. Like, as I say again, I never realized that even something you love, you can do it so much to the point where you don't like it anymore, where you can do it for, like, if I had to ask myself, if I really work my butt off and I find that perfect progress and I put every single ounce of effort I can into it by the end of the year, but I find that I hate what I'm doing, all that skill will go to waste because I'll never be willing to make the effort into finishing projects or whatever opportunities arise for me. If I hate it, you can't, there's no way to do anything in it. It's not like where you can maybe work a 9-to-5 job or something like that, where you, even out of hate, you know, like, oh, the money's making up your life a little bit, where you have an external motivation kind of guiding you. I don't think money's the main motivation. It's the idea that I want to get myself out there in a sense. I want to be free with capabilities, art and drawing, and I want to be able to express that with other people and maybe have people react the way I do towards art and drawing. If I can't do this out of love and pure passion, then I can't do this at all, period. And so this burning out feeling is teaching me that I need to not give up per se, or not say, I guess this is not for me, because I know it is, because the amount of times that drawing has come back to me and this fire has, as I say, it comes back a year later and it makes you feel like crap because you didn't put the effort into. It's like a fire that never dies. It dies for a while and then it'll somehow get lit again. So I know for a fact that this is something that it is a piece of me, and it's forever going to be some sort of motivation that if I do not accomplish, I'll always regret. I always live in regret knowing that I didn't do it. And I think the main message I want to kind of say and specifically is that you're going to feel burnt out in things sometimes, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be burnt out because you hate something or it's not the way to do it. Sometimes that burning out is just saying, hey, you know what? I understand you know that you love this thing. You just have to appreciate it differently, or you have to find another way of going about it. And it's not necessarily, I'm not specifically saying don't practice it. I'm saying practice it, but understand why you're practicing it. Really love the practice. Really love what you're doing. Really appreciate everything you're doing for yourself. And only then, when you love it so much, will you be able to make the actual growth, the actual acceptance of growth. And I feel like at that moment I'll excel to my perfect peak that I want to hit at some point, or reach that perfect stride or flow state that I want to reach, because I see the signs of what this potential dream of mine can end up becoming. I just need to allow myself to embrace those signs. But yeah, that's pretty much all I necessarily have to say on burning out. I could sit here and talk a long time about this because it's a pretty it's a very hard thing to work through, and it's very deep and very invitive of conversation to me. But I appreciate for those who watch my videos, or those who give your time up to me to listen or to look at what I'm doing. It means a lot. The numbers aren't super big. It means a lot that I at least have people who are interested, you know, because that's kind of like the first step. And sometimes I even have to say to myself, if I can't do it for myself, I have to do it for the idea that maybe someone out there needs to hear some words of encouragement, or someone can take something away from it. I really want to say thank you for those who watched, and if you made it this far into the video, I appreciate that lots, and I really hope to see you all soon.